My name is Samantha Sam Carter, and I grew up in a small neighborhood in Austin, Texas. I had porcelain skin, sharp cheekbones, but a very lean frame. Ever since I was a kid, I wasn't into dolls or tea parties. I loved being outdoors, running around with the neighborhood boys, riding bikes, skateboarding, playing baseball, soccer, and flying drones in the park. Being the youngest in the family, my parents doted on me. I had two older sisters, both married and living in different states. I was a total tomboy. I wore oversized hoodies, jeans, sneakers, and baseball caps. Always. I never cared for lip gloss or styling my hair like other girls at school. And honestly, I didn't feel like I was missing anything until I turned 16. That's when everything changed. My mom, who used to cheer me on at Little League games, suddenly started acting weird. "Sam, you're not a kid anymore. You're a young woman now. You can't keep hanging out in tank tops and muddy sneakers with the boys all day. It's not proper," she'd say with a sigh. She'd look at my hands, rough from gripping baseball bats and flying RC planes, and say, "Look at these. They're not girly at all. I'll have to buy you men's shoes if you keep this up." But I brushed her off. All I wanted was to keep playing in the neighborhood park one last time. Just one more match. Eventually, she put her foot down. I wasn't allowed to go out anymore. Instead, I'd sit on the rooftop terrace, watching my old friends laugh and shout as they played below. Sometimes I'd sneak over to Jayden's house next door and complain to his mom, who always listened patiently. Jayden had always been there, kind of like a big brother, though we were the same age. He'd smirk and say, "It's okay, Sam. You're growing up, but you're still you." I'd wear Jayden's shirts sometimes, just to feel like my old self. Despite how close I was with the guys, none of them ever disrespected me. Maybe it was because of Jayden. He was always around, always protective. My dad worked overseas as a consultant and only came back twice a year, so Jayden often helped Mom around the house, mowing the lawn, fixing stuff, helping with groceries. He was like the son we didn't have. By the time I graduated from high school, everything felt confusing. When I turned 20, one of my mom's friends, a family friend from Chicago, came over with a marriage proposal. Her son, Ethan, had just graduated college and was working in finance. My mom was thrilled. Me? Not so much. "I'm not leaving Austin," I told her. "I don't even know this guy." But she didn't care. "You can't even make a cup of coffee properly, Sam. If I marry you off locally, you'll just embarrass me. You're not the kind of girl who blends in. Maybe being in a new place will change you." That family friend, someone I had called Aunt Liz all my life, was someone I trusted, and that trust made me go along with it. The wedding was a blur. Everything happened so fast. My mom had said the groom's family would arrive by plane, but instead, they came by Amtrak train from Chicago, landing in Austin on a hot summer afternoon. I met Ethan Harper, my soon-to-be husband, for the first time on the wedding day. I sat silently in a shimmering ivory bridal gown, heels pinching my feet, hair pinned up in a way that didn't even feel like me. I had never worn something like this before. I usually lived in sneakers and jeans, but today, I felt like a doll. After the ceremony, we left for Chicago that very night. It was my first time on a train this long, a 16-hour journey in a bridal dress that felt heavier than my entire past. Ethan sat across from me in the private sleeper cabin. He kept looking at me, his eyes filled with curiosity and something unreadable. I avoided his gaze, watching the stars pass by through the window. He broke the silence once. "So, Samantha, you sleep like you're on a coma-level nap." I gave a small smile. "I guess. I was just tired." "Yeah. You even told me, in your sleep, to leave me the hell alone." He laughed. "Felt like I was already married to a feisty Texan." I smiled awkwardly, unsure of how to respond. I wasn't used to being talked to like that, with flirtation or warmth. Back in Austin, I was just one of the guys. None of them ever looked at me this way. When we reached Chicago, I was exhausted. His mom, a proper woman with pearls and a perfect bun, had arranged for a local makeup artist to fix me up again for the evening. I could barely stay awake. After dinner, I passed out cold on the bed in the guest room. In the middle of the night, I woke up and saw Ethan asleep on the couch, using a throw pillow. He'd never even come to bed. I felt embarrassed. I hadn't waited for him, hadn't welcomed him. I looked at the clock, 3:02 a.m. My stomach grumbled. I hadn't eaten much since breakfast. I got up quietly to find water when I tripped over one of my bags. I let out a little yelp but managed not to fall. Ethan woke instantly. He sat up, blinking. "You okay?" "Yeah, just thirsty." He stood, walked over, and for the first time, we were close enough to feel the tension in the air. He looked me up and down and said, "You're different." I wasn't sure what he meant, so I just stared. Then he reached into a drawer and pulled out a velvet box. "My mom picked you, and she has great taste. But now that I see you in person, I think she did better than I expected." He smiled and slid a simple silver ring onto my finger. I didn't know what to say. I just nodded, my face burning. He handed me a black satin dress. "Put this on. You'll be more comfortable." When I saw the dress in the bathroom mirror, I froze. It was thin, lacy, and far too revealing for someone like me, someone who barely knew how to act like a real woman. But I wore it, because I wanted to try. When I came out, Ethan sprayed some cologne on himself and then walked over and spritzed it on me too. The room suddenly smelled like cedarwood and vanilla. He leaned in, his hands roaming softly until they froze. He stepped back. His expression changed. He looked at me again. This time, not with warmth, but with something like confusion. Without a word, he turned and walked out. I waited. He didn't return that night. In the morning, I found him asleep on the leather couch in the den. When I walked over to say something, he turned his face away. That became our pattern. I tried. God, I tried. I learned how to cook everything his mom liked. I traded my jeans for skirts, straightened my back, wore lip gloss, tried curling my hair. I even used all the fancy skincare his mom gave me, but nothing changed him. One day, I stood in front of him and demanded the truth. "Why don't you even look at me, Ethan?" "What have I done?" He stared at me coldly. "You don't look like a woman should." "What does that even mean?" "You walk like a guy. You talk like one. Your body's flat. Your hands are rough. When I look at you, I don't feel anything. There's no attraction. You don't make me feel like I'm with a woman." His words were like knives. I stood there, frozen, as he turned and walked away. I stood there, staring into the hallway where Ethan had just walked out. His words echoed in my mind. "You don't look like a woman should." I tried to breathe, but it felt like something inside me cracked. The next day, I pulled out the dresses his mother had packed into my closet. I tried them all. I cooked meals I saw his mom make. I folded his laundry. I learned how he liked his shirts ironed and started serving dinner the moment he walked in. But Ethan? He barely looked at me. He'd come home late. Sometimes I'd see the light under the door of his office flicker on past midnight, but he never entered our bedroom again. 2 months passed. I barely recognized myself anymore. I wore soft floral blouses now. I stopped tying my hair in that old high ponytail. I painted my nails, wore perfume, even wore those painful heels when guests visited. But nothing brought him back. One night, I woke up to yelling. I stepped out of our bedroom and followed the sound to his mom's room. His voice was raised, louder than I'd ever heard. "Mom, I can't keep doing this. I want a divorce. I'm not staying married to Sam." I felt the ground shift under my feet. His mom's voice cracked. "Are you even hearing yourself? That girl gave up her life for you. She left everything behind in Texas. She's not just your wife, Ethan. She's your responsibility." "I can't," he shot back. "She's not what I want in a woman. I don't feel anything when I look at her." That night, I didn't sleep. The next morning, I found him in the kitchen. I stood in front of him, holding back tears. "Just tell me, Ethan, what is it that's so wrong with me?" He looked at me, and this time, he didn't hold back. "Look at yourself in the mirror, Sam. You're built like a dude. Your chest, your hands, the way you walk. It doesn't feel like I'm living with a wife. It feels like I'm sharing my house with a friend from college. No romance, no desire, nothing." It was the most brutal thing I'd ever heard. He walked away, and I broke. A week later, my sister-in-law, Ethan's cousin, suggested I go visit my parents in Austin for a while. She said maybe Ethan needed space to realize what he was missing. I didn't want to go. I was afraid he'd finalize the divorce the moment I left. But my mother-in-law gently said, "Let him miss you. Maybe that will bring him back." So I packed my things and flew home. Austin hadn't changed, but I had. When I walked through our front door, my mom pulled me into a hug, tears in her eyes. She thought I was crying out of homesickness. Within the hour, the boys from my childhood, the same ones I used to play catch and tag with, started showing up to say hi. But I didn't go running out like I used to. I sat quietly, distant. Jayden came too. He looked at me, concerned. "Sam, what happened to you?" I smiled, but my voice cracked. "Nothing, I'm good." He shook his head. "I know you better than anyone. Don't lie to me. Did that guy hurt you?" Jayden was the only one who could see through me. I tried to wave him off, but later that day, his older sister Megan, who had been my closest friend since elementary school, invited me over. We sat on the porch sipping lemonade when she finally said it. "I want to take you to someone, a doctor, a woman I trust." At first, I didn't know what she meant. Then I realized she was talking about my body. The next day, I went with her to the women's clinic downtown. The doctor was kind, soft-spoken, and professional. She gave me supplements, ran a few tests, and asked me about my eating habits. I told her everything. The insults, the way Ethan looked at me, how I hated my own reflection now. She placed her hand over mine and said, "There's nothing wrong with you, Sam. Some women are naturally slender, athletic, flat-chested. That's biology. What's wrong is how your husband made you feel about it." She told me that with time, diet, and self-love, I could feel stronger again. That my femininity wasn't defined by my shape. When I got home that day, Ethan called. My heart skipped. Finally, I thought, maybe he missed me. But what he said shattered me again. "My mom's guilt-tripping me over you. Whatever you're doing, it's messing things up. I'm giving you 15 days. Get fixed, or I'm sending divorce papers." I stood there frozen, tears spilling down my cheeks. When I hung up, I turned to find Jayden standing at the door, arms crossed. He had heard it all. He didn't say anything, just looked at me, a storm brewing in his eyes. Jayden didn't say a word when he saw me break down. He just stood there, hands in his pockets, watching my tears fall. After a long pause, he walked up to me and said quietly, "You're still defending him?" After hearing all that, I snapped. "You have no right barging into my life like this." His jaw tightened. "You think this is just about you? You think it hasn't hurt watching you destroy yourself for someone who doesn't deserve you?" I turned away. "You don't get it. This is a marriage, not a game." Jayden stepped forward, his voice low and sharp. "Exactly. And he treats it like a game. He treats you like a problem, and I can't watch that anymore." His words hit me harder than I expected. I was angry at him, at Ethan, at myself. I shouted, "Just leave me alone, Jayden." But as I slammed the door shut behind him, I saw something in his eyes I hadn't seen before. Heartbreak. The next morning, the medicine from the clinic started making me nauseous. I hadn't eaten much the day before. My body rejected what little I did eat. The pain in my chest returned. Sweat, shivers, and dizziness followed. My mom found me collapsed on the floor near the bathroom. In a panic, she called the only person she knew would come without hesitation, Jayden. He rushed me to the hospital. The diagnosis wasn't great. "She's taken a strong hormonal treatment on an empty stomach," the doctor said. "It's damaging her digestion. Her kidneys are under stress. Why would you even do this without supervision?" I lay in the hospital bed, eyes half closed, hearing the shame in my mom's voice as she whispered, "She did it, to change herself for her husband." The doctor sighed. "Ma'am, this isn't love. This is self-destruction." I looked away. A few days later, when I returned home, Jayden came to check on me. He didn't come into my room. He sat on the porch, waiting. I stepped out, still weak, still unsure. He looked up and asked, "You okay?" I nodded. Then he quietly said, "Your mom told me everything. About the pills, the doctor, about how you tried to change yourself completely for a man who couldn't see your worth." I stayed quiet. He continued, "You didn't fail, Sam. He did." That night, my mom finally talked to Ethan's mother. She was crying. "I made a mistake," she said. "My son's not the man I thought he was. He had someone else before the wedding, a woman from work. I thought he'd change, but now he wants her back." The truth was like another slap. Ethan had never really wanted me. He just wanted someone to compare. I signed the divorce papers a week later. 2 months passed. I wore my hair in a bun again. I wore jeans again. I wore me again. Jayden's mom came with a proposal. I refused. I couldn't imagine marrying again. Not after everything. My mom pleaded, "Jayden isn't Ethan. You've known him your whole life." But I couldn't. My trust was broken. Jayden didn't press. He just kept showing up, to fix the sink, to bring over my favorite chocolate shake, to ask how I was sleeping. And then, one evening, I was sitting on the porch, watching kids play ball in the street, and a ball rolled into our yard. I picked it up, walked to the gate, and before I could toss it back, Jayden was there. He took the ball from my hands, but instead of turning away, he grabbed my wrist. "Why'd you say no?" I looked at him, startled. "Jayden, this is my life, my choice." He stepped closer. "Then choose me." "I don't want to get married." "Because of Ethan?" His eyes flared. "Because of one jerk, you're gonna waste your life punishing yourself?" "I don't love him." "Then prove it. Marry me." I stared at him, stunned. He took a deep breath. "Even if not for yourself, then for your parents, for your future, for the version of you that used to laugh in the sun." He turned and walked away, and this time, I didn't stop him. A week later, I married Jayden. Quietly. No crowd, just close friends, family, and the smell of lemon cake from the local bakery. When he came into the room that night, I froze. All the fear came back. What if he said something like Ethan? What if he saw my body and felt nothing? I sat on the bed, tears forming. Jayden knelt beside me. "Sam, not every man is Ethan. I've known you since we were 5. You think I don't see how strong, kind, and beautiful you are?" I couldn't speak. I just nodded. He kissed my forehead and held my hand gently. "I loved you long before he ever knew your name. And I'll still love you, even if you never wear a dress or makeup or heels. I love you. not some version of you think I want. That night, for the first time in a long time, I slept in peace, wrapped in arms that didn't want to change me.